Well, hi everyone. My name is Ramon Coria. I'm the owner of Color Pros Inc. And yes, I did my very first presentation among some of these people when I had never done a presentation before. Becky made me do it. So
Accountability.
Look at you now.
you got to do it. So here it is. As I said, I own Color Pros Inc. That's my logo there. This is what we do. Residential, commercial, exteriors and interiors. We do trellis, stain or paint, we power wash, we do maintenance touch-ups and such. The newest thing I do is gutter cleaning, as everybody knows. That's my family. Anybody that knows me knows that family is most important in my life. That's my wife Liz, my daughter Tati, and my son Joshua. That's another picture of them. That was Josh when he graduated. My daughter, she was getting an honors program. These girls are part of our family now too. She loves Color Pros, see that? And that's what they do, right? All they do is sleep and eat. My hobby, my cars. This is a photo that someone took for a magazine for that car. I built that in my garage. This is another little tow truck that I have with my company truck on top of it, just going to a show. It's what I do for fun. Working takes, all of our lives, but when you have something fun to do, like I do, I think it makes it a lot easier. That's one of my logos for my shirts. That's the truck that was on top of the other one. I made it and just put on my t-shirts. On to business. As I said, we do residentials, we do interiors and exteriors. I'm going to just show you some pictures of exterior jobs that we've done before. It's painting. Boring. If I don't show you pictures, what else can I do? So it's all pictures here. That's a big house that we did. That's my own house.
Nice.
We painted that as well.
Needs painting, I think.
Yeah. This house is up in the hills in Milpitas, quite large. It's just a front door. We also do small homes. It doesn't have to be a large project. We do any size project. That's a cute little house in Redwood City where she just wanted her front door to pop, so we did it in red. That's another smaller home that we painted the exterior of. And so on and so forth. Medium-sized homes, very, very large homes that we've done. Medium-sized homes. This is a good example of some trellis staining. Those trellises. Once they're built, you have to stain them. You should do it about once a year for them to last. Most people don't because it's very expensive, but that's a good example of one that we've done. We do interiors as well. This is the interior of that first house that I showed you. That house was white inside and out, and they just had the accents in different colors. Inside of another home. Just different examples of different houses that we've painted before. Different colors, different themes. This is some of the commercial work that we've done. Again, we do from anything super small to very, very large. This was like a 300 unit condo complex in Mountain View, and I'll have several pictures of this coming up. But that's just one of the sides of it. There's a whole bunch of guys that are spraying and back rolling. That's one of the things that we specialize in. We don't just have one of the guys spraying, which would go very quickly. It could be very inexpensive on my side. Labor is the most expensive thing that I have going on. And so if I have all three of those guys spraying, you can imagine how fast we would go. But instead, I have two guys spraying, and you don't see the other guy, but the other guy's coming from the other direction. Two guys spraying and two guys back rolling. And what that does is you put the material on the subsurface, but then you have another guy with the roller rolling it on, and it pushes it onto the subsurface. And when you do that, it just creates a better bond. And then when the guy finishes rolling, the sprayer comes back and resprays. And that is how we get the quality of what we do. Here's one of the guys on the boom doing it. In the case of something like this, he would spray up to a certain point, back roll himself, and then respray. You don't wanna put two guys up in a boom typically. There's the fish market restaurants. We've been painting those for like 22 years. We paint the interiors, the exteriors of all of them in the Bay Area.
How often do you have to paint those?
So we paint them once a year. I typically do it during the winter time, and then all summer long, we just go and do touch-ups. And then the winter comes and we take it from one end to the other, and then all summer long again, we do touch-ups.
Is that a Meridian and Branham?
The one that I just
No,
showed
the one right
you.
there, that foot massage.
Oh,
Not that
yeah,
one.
yeah, that's, yes,
That's where Petco is.
yes.
Yeah,
So
that's
you'll
right
see it
by
up.
my
So
house.
we painted that shopping center a couple of years back. This particular shopping center, it kind of fell between the cracks for the property manager, and they called me, they said, Ramon, you know, I've done a lot of stuff for them. We need it done. I took 22 guys. We started at 2 o'clock in the morning and we finished it at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, that shopping center.
Wow.
That whole shopping center. So this is, you know,
Why'd you
one of
have
the
to do it
sides
at
of
2 in the
it.
morning,
Yeah,
just because they needed it like right yesterday?
They screwed up and the owner was gonna go see it and they're like, you gotta get us out of trouble,
Oh my
please come and
goodness.
do it. And,
Holy
you know,
crud, I hope you charged them more for the 2 in the morning.
They give me
call.
actually, the owners of that shopping center are the same owners of the fish markets, so no, I did not charge them
Okay,
anything.
yeah, because
I
they're
do,
good cut.
I do a lot of work for them and, you know, that's
Yeah.
what you do, you
Yeah,
do
that's
favors
what
for
you
the
do.
people that give you the work. This shopping center belongs to them as well, in Union
Right.
City.
Yeah.
So, you know that shopping center?
Yeah.
So we painted
For
that.
dogs.
This is a huge commercial, it's actually a few buildings, but this is a picture of one of them by the San Francisco airport. You know, we painted all of those as well. This is that Petco, so this is a good example of what we do for prepping for paint. I probably have 4 guys masking everything that we weren't supposed to paint at that Petco for at least 8 hours. For 2 hours of painting, you know, but that's how we do it, and that's the inside of it. You know, every single thing needs to be masked so that we can paint what we're gonna paint there. Again, still in the prepping, and the other example was of commercial, but both commercial and residential, it's the same prep, right? We do the same things. But we mask 100% of everything every single time we're gonna paint. We don't just do a paper board or anything like that. This is another example. So you can see every single individual window, he's masked it off while the other guy is doing some of the caulking, which here it is. You know, we caulk all of the edges, all the way around everything. I mean, we sort of overdo it, if you will, but painting is all about protecting the subsurface for, you know, you don't want water and the sun to, you know, hit it without being correctly prepared. That's an example of how we would do a paper border and drop cloths beyond the area so that the other person could be spraying what he's spraying. This is a plastic enclosure, still on prep. So this is one of the bars at the fish market restaurant where we refinished it. But you can imagine, there's a whole restaurant going that way. And you start sanding, you know, that could go wrong in so many ways. So what we do is we actually make an enclosure for that area so that we can keep the mess localized to there, right? And so then we also have, you can see the sander that I kind of did a little hose with tape and everything, and we turn on the sander and we try to pull as much as we can to that sander so that it's not flying all over the place, so that we can then refinish that bar. Again, more prep, another interior, just showing you how, you know, things are scraped and ready to go for when the guys are shooting, you know, the texture, that's that same house, right? So he's got it all taped up so that we can texture it. Answer questions for a moment.
Yes.
Questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
I know that there's gonna be a big range, but I'll ask anyway. For like a smaller home, let's say 15 to 1,800 square foot home, exterior, what's a ballpark that somebody would expect from maybe a lower end market to a higher end market?
You know, it's very difficult to give a price without looking at it, because for us, since the most expensive thing I have going on is labor, I need to look
The
at the prep.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
if there's
I mean,
siding
and
and it's
how
all
many
crapped out.
windows, you know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
how much scraping we have to do, do I have to do a whole bunch of caulking, do they have a whole bunch of plants? So
So
that's
really
why
hard to bid, yeah.
you wouldn't believe how many people say, well, I have this on Yelp, I have this on, can you give me a quote? No. And
You have
they-
to see it,
And I don't charge to go out and look at them, but many people just don't wanna give you the time. But
Yeah.
most people do.
yeah,
And so that's how we do it. It all starts with the visit from me.
yeah,
I look at it and, I mean, it takes 5 minutes. All I gotta do is just look at what I need to look at, and within 5 minutes, I know exactly what it's gonna cost. But I mean, you know, if you have normal prep, normal everything, nothing crazy, I mean, you're probably looking at $35 to
That's kinda what
$4,000.
I figured you were gonna say 35 to 5, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of what you're looking, depending, I mean, if you have more windows, most of those homes wouldn't have trim on all the windows, which is why I say that, but if you have trim on every
It has to
single
be taped
window,
or- yeah.
that we have to paint
Oh, you have to
separately,
paint, yeah,
then,
yeah,
then that's the thing.
gotcha.
So no look on the video?
Is it planned?
And then what would be, again, assuming average prep time, do you do a small home like that in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days?
More than likely a couple of days.
A couple of
Yeah,
days,
yeah, it's hard to do homes in 1 day, unless I take a whole bunch of guys, but most of the problem is not the labor, it's drying time. You need
Right.
one color to be dried so you can tape it off to do the second
Yes,
color.
yes.
So typically what I do is I send 2-man teams so that even if it's a small home, they prep and spray the body today, and then tomorrow,
You do the
everything's dry so they can,
Yeah,
do the
that would
trim.
make sense.
But
I don't think
anyways,
you got the video.
it's kinda-
Sorry, dude.
sorry, it played on mine,
The next time we'll get
the
it.
next time I'll just bring a video. Anybody else have any questions? Paul?
Colors.
Colors.
Oh, is your house painted?
Not yet. We gotta pick colors.
Yeah, we have to choose colors.
How do you
So-
choose colors?
I don't choose colors for anyone. I help you choose the colors, right? So I know what colors are in. For instance, right now, #1 color, without a doubt, gray.
For-
Gray,
There's so many
gray,
grays.
gray for interiors, for exteriors. Gray, it used to be tan. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, it was tan, tan, tan. Right now, it's gray, gray, gray. What deviation or how dark the gray? That's up to the person. There are people that are super afraid of color, and they don't want to go with anything dark. But dark colors are in. So if you're not afraid of color, most people would go to a darker side of the color versus the lighter side. But that's kind of part of what I ask when I go visit the person. I take my color deck. First thing I ask them is, do you have any idea kind of where you want to be in the color? And then I take that range of colors out. And then, for instance, gray, you can go in a gray that starts looking purple to a gray that starts looking green. So where in your mind, where is that gray perfect? So once I find one, then I keep the ones that are close to those colors, and then we go lighter, darker, and so on and so forth.
So, do you work with just one brand of paint? Could we go to a Home Depot or Lowe's and find the palettes so we can like play around with them on the house?
So I
that
work
kind
with
of
all
thing?
the major paint companies. I don't like to work with anything from the Home Depot or from Lowe's. So Kelly Moore, Sherwin-Williams, Dunn Edwards, Benjamin Moore, some of the big companies, that's who we would use. Kelly, I happen to get a better discount from Kelly Moore, which goes to you anyways. Therefore, that's why I like to use, but we'll use any of the big companies. Sorry. Hold on.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment, because I was talking with my neighbor who was a retired school teacher, now painter in the villages, and we talked about the colors of the kinds of things, and he said he always hated it when somebody wants to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy a Bears
Yes.
brand, because it doesn't cover, so you end up using much more of that, even though you think you're getting a great deal on paint, where if you buy the higher quality, it would
That is
get as
correct.
much.
And again, remembering that the labor is the most expensive part, and then if you're doing all that, why would you go cheap? Like, I've had people ask me, well, you're not gonna put water in the paint, and I kinda chuckle, it's like, do you think I wanna put a little bit of water in the paint to make that paint last longer, but then not cover? I mean, no, it doesn't make any sense, right? There are instances where you wanna throw a little bit of water in your paint if it's super hot, just to keep it flowing, but it's not to make it more paint. Paul?
When you came to our house, you said something that kind of was weird, but
Weird.
Weird.
but where do we start from? But anyway, most people come with the idea that they're gonna paint the framing of around the door a different color, meaning to match the door, and you were saying that you don't highlight that anymore. Can you talk about the trim painting?
So, it really depends. I'm a less is more kind of a guy, and when I say that, I mean, I don't wanna do every single thing in a different color. So for instance, I mean, this is not up anymore, but in my own home, it's a 2-story home, and what I did is I painted the body of the house, the eaves, and the fascia gutters in the same color, same sheen. And I only painted the window trim in a different color. Where 99% of the people will paint the fascia, the gutters. So to me, it looks like a kid grabbed this picture and said, outline all this. Why? It's the ugliest thing your house has. Why are you going, hey, here I am? Same idea with your door. Why would you want to paint the body, then the trim and the color of the trim, then the door and the door color? I would want you, if say you were going to paint the house in gray and the door in red, I would want your door and your trim painted in the red, and then the body. But a lot of people, they think that we do that because it's easier for us. Well, we gotta paint it anyways. To me, it makes no difference if I have to paint it one color or if I have to paint it another. So if you went body in gray, trim in white, door in red, now in this much space, you got 3 colors you're looking at. It's a preference. It's really nothing more than that. If I feel that if you keep it simple, when you're done, the house looks more elegant, therefore you're gonna like it more. But there are people, I'm painting a house in Union City in a couple of weeks. The lady started with orange on the house and purple trim.
Oh my God.
And I said, no. I said, when Google Earth looks at it, they're gonna pinpoint your house. And then she went to greenhouse with yellow trim. And I mean, and we just kept on going down. She still, I forget what color she chose, but she still chose some very bright colors, and that's just what she likes. But my job is to tell you, and I even wrote it when I got home, I wrote her an email saying, these are the colors you chose, just to remind you they're gonna be very bright. Well, because what happens is that all of a sudden it's my fault.
Yeah, of course.
When it's done and they're like, I hate it, well, yeah, but you chose it.
Here's
Right?
the emails.
That's right. I send emails and I just, you know, it's just a reminder, as you know, for our conversation, it's gonna be very bright, and that way, yeah, well, I don't say that, but I remind people.
Sounds like some of the
And
Victorians.
but the reason why is because there are people that prefer that, and that's fine. But sometimes they don't think. I mean, and this is a large home
Sure,
with
their
a
neighbors
lot
will
of.
just love it.
Exactly. Can you imagine if we would have went with the first one, pink and purple or whatever it was? I mean, it would have been just awful. Again, that's my view on it. But she may have loved it. Her neighbors would have hated it, for sure. So that's kind of why my job. I've been doing this for 31 years. I've seen a lot of colors, good ones and bad ones. Of course, I have my preferences. My job is not to tell you what color to paint it. My job is just to warn you, to keep you safe from yourself. Look, that's fine, but if you do this color, it's gonna be very bright or very dark or not dark enough. Some people are afraid of dark colors, so they choose, say they wanna go with the gray, and I tell them, if we paint that gray, it's gonna look like white. Like this color right behind you. That's actually grayish. But when you put it on big, large surfaces, it looks white. Choose.
So do the colors of a house that someone chooses affect the resale values of the neighborhood?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who wants to live next to a purple house with orange trim, or
yes,
vice versa?
that is correct. That is correct. I always kid, and I would tell my wife, if there was a neighbor that did that, I would paint their house for free. Right? Listen, I'll paint the house for free. It's awful, because I do believe that if you were going to buy a house and it was next door to a purple and orange house, you may not buy it because of that, and not just because of the colors. Because what does that tell you? Maybe they're also the kind that are going to park their cars on top of the lawn. Maybe, I don't know. That's what you would start thinking. And now, now I put a different hat on. But back to the painting. Yes, I think it's a big deal on what you choose.
Have you done like patterns? Like, did anyone ask you like do some weird
Checks.
stuff like
Yes.
checkered or like
Yes,
stripes?
yes, we've done stripes, and we've done, you know, it's odd, it's difficult,
Well, that's more for
it's
interior,
expensive
isn't
for
it?
No, interior,
interiors.
no,
for
We
interior.
did
interiors.
stripes, we
Interior.
did sharps
For-
colors in our kids' rooms, they loved it.
Yeah, well,
I
for
did
the kids,
camouflage, yeah.
I think we've all done
I
it
did
for our kids.
Camouflage, that was fun.
Yeah, but I've done it for people, like, right in their entrances, and where they're like, that's what they like.
Yeah.
I guess it's okay, but not very many. And most of the reason why, it's because of how much it costs.
Right, because I was thinking the cost would be a lot.
Oh, yeah,
Versus
yeah.
like a wallpaper, you know, like if you were had to paint
Yeah.
patterns.
Well, they
That's
look at
what
it,
you should do.
they look at it as, well, all you gotta do is tape it and paint it. I look at it as, yes, but my guys in 8 hours can paint both of these rooms, and the way you're asking me to do it, they're only gonna do that wall, so guess how much you're gonna pay, right? Again, it's all about labor.
Do you charge premium prices for ugly colors on the
I
exterior?
should, but I don't.
Yeah, you
I mean,
should.
my prices are my prices. Some of you, you know, that have used me would know that we're not the cheapest guys out there. I mean, and we don't want to be. We're not the most expensive, but the only way I can give people the quality is by charging the right amount of money for it. And what that allows you to do is, if there's a little extra or something, you're not going like, well, yeah, but it's gonna be $200. You don't have to charge for every little thing. Of course, if they're adding big things, you have to charge. But little things, just go ahead and do it. Or something, yeah, I'm not sure if I like that, you know, one of my guys, you know, sand it and paint it again. Even if we think it looks fine, if the customer thinks it doesn't, at the end of the day, they don't care about the rest of the house. They'll only care about the little piece. So for us, it's just like, sand it, paint it, takes 2 more minutes, and now the customer is happy. So, I mean, I've done work for Deanna, for Tammy, you know, we're soon to do some work for Paul, right? And so we've been there. I mean, everybody's met my guys, and my guys are very good at what they do. Yes.
So it sounds like you have projects all over the Bay Area, but do you go up into the Los Gatos or Santa Cruz Mountains? We seem to have difficulty with
Yeah, so
finding
actually-
trades up there.
Our area is from South San Francisco to Gilroy, and from Livermore to Watsonville.
Okay.
There's like a little, almost like a next door site, but it's not next door, in Los Gatos Mountains,
Uh-huh.
where they actually have my name, because
Cool.
not a lot of people go up there, or do they know how to, those homes have to be treated a little bit different because it's a different weather. And so we did work for one, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, and somebody put me on there,
Oh,
and they keep on referring me back and
is
forth.
that right? Okay.
So yeah, I just don't remember what it's called. It's like a community
Yeah, there's
little.
a Mountain Network news.
That's what it is.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Anybody else? Yes.
Two things. First of all, when you say you're not the cheapest, the way you do your prep is the way you have to do prep, and that's why you're more expensive. But it lasts twice as long by doing that. I always find when I did painting, it took twice as long to prep it and paint it.
Well, and the other thing that prep does is, I love it, or I chuckle when people call me and they say, you know, I saw a little bit of overspray on something. No, it's impossible. So I often take pictures of how we prep. There's a real busy realtor in Milpitas, Fremont. Her name is Debbie Rosetto. I do a lot of work for her. This woman does about 100 to 120 transactions a year. And so she'll call me, and I'm always more expensive than her regular guy that she's been using for 30 years. But every time she goes in my houses that we painted for her, she'll call me and she's like, I can't believe how much prep you do. We literally, if we were painting this room, the only thing that would be exposed is what we're gonna paint. Therefore, if you call me and said there's overspray on something, hopefully I took a picture and I show you, see, everything was masked off. It's impossible for it to be paint on there. The problem is that I can show you, if we walked around, I can show you that there's paint on some of these door trims, and when it's your house, you never notice it. But the second we show up to paint it, now, because you're looking, you notice it. And so that's the biggest problem that we have as painters. So what I try to do is, I try to do a little walkthrough and show people, look, there's paint on the hinges, there's paint on the door trim. Just notice these things before. And I also train my guys to take pictures. And not after we paint it, because then it looks like we did it.
Right.
You know, before we paint it, so that you can see the wall's still dirty, but you see it. And that way, if people come, or if the person comes back to me and says, well, we saw some paint on this, here's a picture, it was done before, you know, it's, I mean, just kind of.
One of the things, you mentioned gray, and there's a house in our neighborhood that just sold. Before it was sold, they painted it, like my son says it's black, but it's really dark charcoal, really dark charcoal.
Too dark.
And it has white trim, and it's, oh, God, it's terrible. And interestingly enough, I'm kind of grown, so I don't think it looks bad. But is that type of really dark, is that common, or?
I try to tell people not to do that, not because it doesn't look good, because it's really a matter of choice, right? I mean, it's a preference thing. The problem with the colors that are too dark, they fade. And so I paint it looks great today, and next year the sides that get the sun are faded. So that's basically the only reason why I would tell someone not to do that.
Doesn't it make the house look smaller also? If you're
You know,
painting it
that's a
darker?
common belief. I don't think so. I mean, he's talking about the exterior.
Yes.
Most people think of that for the interior. Dark colors are in. And to me, if it's a small little bathroom and you want that medium dark charcoal, I think it's well worth it. Put it on there. It doesn't really make, again, my opinion, it doesn't make that room look that much smaller because of one color or the other. Right? If it's small no matter what.
They just spent, I'm sure, a ton of money doing pavers on the driveway and up the front, and it's trimmed, and a charcoal that exactly matches the color of the paint. It's gonna look great now, and I'll give you their name in probably a year from now.
Yeah, they'll need it again. I mean, and
But
like I
because
said,
I don't think the paint will change. The house.
yeah, what happens with a lot of the painters is all they want is the job. And so, you know, whatever color you want, they're like, yeah, just sign on the dotted line, right? I think it's a disservice to people. If I've seen these colors, my job is just to kind of suggest, you know, and that's about it. That I can't choose a color for you, but I can help you not screw up because, well, I'm the one that's supposed to have been doing this for a long time. And so when you listen to those things, you really do, your outcome is a lot better.
What happens if you think that purple and they think, oh, that was terrible?
So it's happened to me very many times, and all the times that it's happened to me is the people that have said, no, we know what we want. So I shouldn't say many times, it's happened to me 4 times to be exact. And all 4 times it was people when I said, I can go out and help you choose the color, no, we got it, we know what we want. And when I see some of these colors, I'll snap a picture, are you sure this is the color? Oh yeah, that's it, okay. They come home from work and they're like, okay, what do we do now? Well, 2 choices, you live with it or we repaint it. And
Here's the
I
hack.
give people a better price, but I can't do it for free. If they do it at that moment, they can save quite a bit of money if we haven't unmasked. But if we've already unmasked, we gotta redo everything again. So there's no savings. So I would say out of the 4 that it's happened, I don't remember 3, maybe just 2, did it within, one of them I know for sure did it right away. One of them did it within a month or 2, and the other they just live with it. But it's your choice. You know, you choose the color, and there is not much that I can. My job is not to argue with the person and say, you know, oh my God, I'm telling you, I will do purple walls with pink stars if that's what you want. But before that, I will tell you it's going to look like crap. And if you tell me I know and I still want to do it, guess what? We're going to be doing purple stars. Simple as that. I mean, that's what we get paid for.
Unless it's a Victorian. with all
Very
that ginger.
nice. All right, cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.